You've probably been told that raising prices means losing clients. But what if you could double your prices and every single client stayed? Most people think that's impossible until they redesign their offer using this system. I'm Abby Johnson. I've helped business owners in over 40 different industries add 50 to 500K to their profit using the Profit First system and streamlined operations. Let me show you how to 2x your pricing without a single client blinking. The problem with most service businesses is the offer always depends upon the owner because that's the originator, right? So something like a chiropractor, a bookkeeper, even if you're a window washer, a pressure washer, any of these things, it probably all started with you doing the delivery. And then what happens as you scale is sometimes that offer still depends on you. People only want you because now they've gotten to know you. So the first step to wanting to increase your pricing without burning yourself out is to craft your offer in a way where you are not needed every step of the way and still make it that high standard that you yourself would deliver. For example, I had a client who did sign installation. Even though he had other installers now that were actually doing the installations, his clients were all coming to him because he was B2B, he was working with print shops. The print shop owners wanted to work directly with him. This was leading to burnout for him as the owner, as well as stagnation for the company because he didn't have room to do anything to help grow the business when he was having to handle calls from his current clients. So what happens when you have this situation is usually you're so desperate to get work and to stay on top of it, and you're so burned out that customers can feel it. It does not lead to the best customer experience. It can lead to pressure in sales and just an overall not enjoyable customer experience for the customer. And the thing is clients aren't just buying your service, they're buying your credibility and your systems. So an example of this is in the company before Matterhorn that I was working with my father. He was really the face of the company. It was a dental management consulting company. Everyone knew him as the dentist. He was the very forward-facing person of the company. And people signed up because of his seminars, because of his credibility, because of his dental background. But when they signed up with the company, he wasn't the one delivering and consulting to every single person. That company had 60 to 80 employees who were servicing the clients. And it was because it had a reliable system that was bringing the same value that Greg, my father himself, would have brought. The other place most service businesses go wrong with their offers is they think that if they just do high volume, low margin, they're going to be successful. All they need to do is beat their competition on price. They're going to get more business and they're off to the races. But the problem is that also leads to burnout because especially if you're the one delivering the service, that's going to break you. But even if you have a crew, like I had a roofing client once, and that's what he thought his problem was. He just needed to low margin, close more deals that way. But what ends up happening is then your team is burnt out. You are burnt out because you are delivering so much to get this much money in return. So we have to find this balance of having an offer that's not totally dependent on you and is actually truly profitable so it doesn't break you or your team. So there's actually 3 layers to building a profitable offer. Most people just look at this first layer, which is the financial piece. Now, this is obviously important. We want to have the numbers there. So let's take a look at this first. So here at Matterhorn, I use the Profit First management system with every client so that they can manage their cash profitably, but we can also use this system to reverse engineer some pricing. So let's use the example of the ideal Profit First percentages for a business doing 1 to 5 million in revenue. So in Profit First, we break down the income into 4 categories. We do profit as in an exclusive profit bank account. We have owner's compensation. We do tax set aside, of course. And then finally is OPEX, your operating expenses. So for a business that's doing 1 to 5 million, the ideal percentages would be 10% in the profit account, 10% in the owner's compensation account, 15% in a tax account, and 65% operating expenses. So right here, this gives you some guidance for your pricing when it comes down to the hard numbers, is you want to make sure you have this 65% built in for your operating expenses. This may seem pretty obvious, but I just run into this so often where once I actually do a full financial analysis with someone, this is why their margins are only 10-15%, is because they aren't pricing for this. Their expenses are too high. And yes, you can go cut expenses, you can go cut out subscriptions and everything, but you can only cut so much. So this is something you want to keep in mind when you're pricing profitably, is you obviously want to make sure that the cost of actually delivering your service is built into the price. And this is more than just, labor times 2 or times 3 or whatever formula you're using. You have to think about more than the labor. You have to think about the whole picture, all the expenses to keep the business running. A lot of people don't think about marketing. They never have the budget to market because it's not built into their pricing to actually start allocating towards a marketing budget. So you want to make sure that your operating expenses are all accounted for and that these 3 profit categories are also accounted for. We want to make sure you can pay your taxes, you can pay yourself, and at the end of the day, there is profit in an account that you can do something with. All right, the next part of this 3-tiered profit system is the delivery. A common place people are losing money is that they are inefficient in their delivery. I've talked about this in other videos, how if you are customizing every single thing you do for every single client, it leads to inefficiency. It's harder to service everyone and give the best experience and the best product when you're constantly having to shift gears or your staff are constantly having to shift gears. So you want to make sure that whatever your delivery is, it is systematized. The same thing happens every single time. An example of this is a chiropractor. So let's say you're a chiropractor and everyone has different pain, right? That you are trying to help them relieve their neck pain or their back pain or their elbow pain or their misalignments, whatever it may be. But the process for coming into the practice is the same for every client. Everyone's greeted by reception. Then they're taken to do their new patient analysis. Then they are taken x-rays. Then an evaluation or a diagnosis is given. Then an adjustment can happen, etc., etc. Now, someone might come in and say, yeah, I know my problem, just crack my neck. Like, my neck hurts, just take me back there and crack my neck. If you start doing this and just saying, okay, I'll just go and crack your neck, you might have missed the rest of the body, right? The neck pain might be coming from a lower back misalignment or something like that. I'm not a chiropractor, but I know that much, that pain in one area could actually be because of an issue somewhere else. So you need to go through your process of your full assessment, your full x-rays and everything with every single patient so that you can treat their pain properly. You customize care from there in terms of what is wrong or what pain they are in specifically, but the process, the system is the same for every patient coming in. Then once you have this set system in place, it's much easier to remove yourself, have SOPs, have it written up how you do this, and then you can hand things over much easier and start taking a step back out of that delivery area. Here's the hard truth. You could have the best service in the world, but if your offer is bleeding profit, you're going to see inferior competitors charging 3 times what you're charging and growing faster than you're growing. Inside our free profit assessment, we'll find out exactly where your profit is bleeding and give you 3 immediate action steps you can take now to correct it. Most clients are finding ways to double their take-home pay in 30 minutes or less on these calls. Click the link below to book your call with my team now. The last piece of this 3-layer system is the client experience. So we obviously want to make sure when someone is coming in for service, they are getting a great experience. And there is probably a delivery system behind that. But at the end of the day, what is the actual end result that your client, customer, patient is getting? This is also where sales comes into play, is you want to be talking about the transformation that your customer is going to be getting, not the tasks or steps it's going to take to get there. no one really cares about those in-between steps. So an example of this is a bookkeeper. I've had this happen a lot of clients where I need to refer them to a bookkeeper because their books are just out of whack, they're crazy, and someone needs to go clean them up. So someone goes to the bookkeeper and says, look, I know my books are messed up. I know they're behind. Can you fix this? Instead of the bookkeeper saying, well, first I'm going to have to reconcile this account and I'm going to have to connect this credit card to QuickBooks and I'm going to have to disconnect this and then I will do XYZ. The business owner doesn't care. They don't care about those little details. They want to know, yes, at the end of the day, your books are going to be perfectly clean. They're going to be ready for your accountant to file taxes. Everything's going to be up to date and reconciled. And by the 5th of every month, you're going to have an updated in present time P&L in your inbox. Boom, done. That's all they care about. So you need to figure out, what is that transformation? What are you actually delivering to the client, and how can you elevate that experience or elevate that transformation as much as possible? This is how you set yourself apart from your competition. This is the unique differentiating factor that your business has. So when you have all three of these pieces, a higher price is actually justified. It makes sense to your client or customer. The perceived value of what you're doing has come up, and therefore the price matches the value. So it's more than just raise your prices 10%. It's you're raising the actual value of that transformation and end result that the customer is getting. An example of this is I have a dentist I'm working with right now, and we just talked about raising prices. He's going to be doing a 20% price increase. After we looked at his specific numbers, his specific area, his specific brand, it made sense. So we had the financial piece in place. We investigated that and made sure it was right for him. We already know that he has the delivery system in place. His office runs smoothly. They are scheduling multiple patients because they have multiple hygienists. He's able to go from room to room, check in on the patients, do the procedures he needs to do. So their delivery system is in place. They also have a great patient experience. Him and his staff really value handling their patients with the utmost care, giving them the best experience. They are not just a churn out clinic. They are really taking the time with each patient. And that in itself has elevated his brand as a dentist and elevated his value as a dentist. His patients know they're not going to just come in, be misdiagnosed, tried to be sold treatment that they don't actually need. They know they're going into a trustworthy establishment that's going to take care of them. And that is going to be worth more money to them because it is in actuality valuable. So if you just go around raising your prices for no reason, not increasing your perceived value at all, you're just raising your prices, and that is how you lose customers when you raise prices. An example of this is a restaurant. I know restaurants are really hard. Margins are already thin. Prices are going up, but one of our favorite restaurants we go to all the time is a Persian restaurant, and they recently raised their prices by 20%. I noticed this all of a sudden. We had been there the week before, we went this week, and when I looked at the bill, it went from being a $25 plate, which was already expensive, to a $30 plate. That's a big jump for getting the same exact product. I'm assuming their prices are going up, but my husband actually pointed out, like, these are high-end rates for a high-end Persian restaurant where you go in and there's a lot nicer tables and nicer decor and that more high-end experience, whereas this Persian restaurant is not that. They've got good food, but they are not that high-end experience around it. So for me, I'm probably not going to be eating there every week if they have increased their prices 20% and are not giving me any sort of better experience or value from that price increase. This is also why the restaurant industry is really tough, because it is really tough to give that experience. But maybe they throw in extra bread now or extra cheese or give better customer service when we're there or something like that. But if I'm not seeing that, I'm not seeing a perceived value of $30 for this one dish. Now, on the other hand, I have another favorite restaurant in the area that's an Italian restaurant, and we've been going there for a long time. All of the ingredients are imported from Italy. Even the branzino my husband had was directly imported from Italy. The pizza's amazing. Everything is amazing. My husband and I go there every date night because it's so good. And while we were going there, I would get the bill because I run the finances, of course, and I would see it and say, man, like, these are like normal restaurant prices. They were charging normal restaurant prices for an exceptional product and exceptional service. So we went back, a month later for our next date night, and I noticed their prices had increased. But I said, I can't be mad because it is worth this much. The food is worth this much. The experience, the customer service is worth this much. The perceived value of their food now matched their pricing. So me as the customer, I was not upset. I'm still going to go back. I think it's fair and they deserve those prices that they are now charging. The other common barrier I hear a lot with this is, well, my industry is too competitive. So again, with the roofing industry, I just need to be the lowest price and I'm going to get more business that way. But if you are in a super competitive industry, you need this kind of system even more. You have to stand out by having a higher perceived value and a better customer experience than your competition. An example of this is several years ago, my husband and I had moved into a new house. We had a little dog, and day one, she goes in the backyard, is running around, and she comes inside with all of these weeds stuck all over her hair. It took me like 30 minutes to get these weeds out of her hair. So this was a big problem for us. We said, okay, we need to get a lawn care service in here right away to handle these weeds and come on a recurring basis so that we don't have to deal with this anymore. So my husband contacted one of those services that gives your number to like 5 different places. And this was a problem that was very painful for us. We wanted to solve it now. There was one company that called him within 5 minutes. They said, okay, I can be there in 2 hours to look at your yard. How does that work? They came out, looked at our yard, gave us the price, and we signed up right then and there. So for us, speed was extremely valuable. They came out right away. They had a clear system of being able to reach people quickly when they needed help. And then they were easily able to put us on their route to come on a regular basis and make sure this wasn't a constant pain for us. So they had their delivery system in place. They had a great client experience. So when it came to the financial piece, I didn't really care. It was not exorbitant. If they had said like it's $200 a month, I probably would have questioned it, but they gave us the price and we signed up there. I was not going to spend my time shopping around town to get a deal $5 better when these guys had the client experience and the delivery experience that I wanted to receive. Now, some of these places that got my husband's phone number didn't even call him back until the next day. They were way late. They obviously did not get our account. So I will say this as an extra note is speed is a huge factor. People want speed. Now, you may have a specialized situation where for some reason you don't sell something that someone is in pain about, but I'm assuming that's not the case. If they don't have urgency to solve their problem, then they aren't going to close easier anyways. Those are the type of people that are going to care more about price. So that's kind of a topic for another day when it comes to pre-qualifying your leads. But my point here is if you have a better client experience, a better delivery mechanism to give that transformation that your client is looking for, then you are going to beat your competition every day of the week. And being the fastest and being the most in communication with your customers is a really easy way to do that. Look, you have 2 choices here. Keep competing on price and working harder for less, or restructure your offer to be profitable and finally get paid what you are actually worth. Our free profit assessment helps you do just that. We will find where the profit leaks are and give you a roadmap on how to solve them. These calls are normally up to $1,000, but right now they're free. Don't miss out your spot. Click the link below while we have availability. And if you want to see how successful entrepreneurs structure their time to implement these offers, check out this video here. It shows you the exact time management framework that makes profit design possible. I'll see you in the next video.